Hello, it's been a while, but
Yeah.
the break has been good. We got to test the cards before reviewing this time, so it'll be a little different than before. Hopefully, a little faster, but we got probably the best set to be released in 2020.
All right, I will not sit for this slander. Set 10 is a gorgeous set, probably the
All right,
best meta we've had in ball.
best couple
But
months
it's
of Dragon Ball. How's that?
absolutely, oh dude, it's been so much fun. Unisons are great. Every color is viable right now. Isn't that crazy? All of them.
Just all of them. Like
All
we're
all
coming off
colors
of
are like
Gen Con tournaments and other online tournaments. Like I get that they might not be the best representation, but like those top eights are all vastly different.
and like there's a nice amount it's not so wild that it's inconsistent, but like every good leader made its way there at some point. Every single one of them. Um, like I just can't believe that we can live in a meta where in the same week that in the same week that Invoker wins, Invoker doesn't make top eight, and then like Pilaf is in top eight, and Surge Coup or Dredge Coup,
There
and
was a Surge Q also.
there was even a Surge Coup. The webcam events had quite a bit different meta, just given the type of players that were in attendance. But either way, we're here to talk about Anniversary Box because it's a pretty cool product, and this one is definitely way better than the last one.
Oh, for sure.
For
Plus,
sure, for sure.
finally, like my deck finally got support. I've been an AOD boy since set six, so
Let's just
let's
jump right
just
in.
get into it. You got your host Dom, that is I, here again
And
with
I'm
Dane.
I'm Dane.
Is Dane the Zamasu guy? No Zamasu this set. Oh, sad. No
Uh,
Zamasu.
it's good, you know. I just wish there was more controls of Zamasu support. The aggro Zamasu is fun, but set 7 is a way cooler archetype. So
True,
let's just
but
get into some other supports archetype control archetypes that I really love that got support in this set.
we start right away with probably the oldest archetype in here, Vegito.
I think so. Yeah, set
Set two.
2.
Set one was kind of more super generic. I kind of like that this anniversary box didn't just focus on. I kind of wish more they had more of a focus on it though, the Shenron Wish format, which was the whole year before,
Hmm.
or block, sorry. But it's nice to see us go back to Vegito that did get one card the first anniversary box, which was
And that
good.
card is great, but it wasn't enough to save the deck.
No,
Um,
these cards coming up, like what's also very helpful is that the Goku Vegeta we're going to talk about right now are also pretty generic.
mhm.
Just like just their counter skills are great. So Goku is a counterattack. Negate the attack, play his cards, you get a free 10k body. If you have three more energy, it's a one cost counterattack. Maybe a little late for a 10k body, but still in Vegito, Union Vitara, you want guys on board, so that makes sense.
In Bulma, it's a 10k, so maybe that could mean something if you're using like Wii Super combos or something like that,
Yep.
as
10
opposed to like Riddell.
10k blocker, which is pretty nice. Yep.
Just a good name. You're a Goku.
Yep.
I'm sure that this will in the future.
Vegeta is a counterplay, which is already
So
makes
much
it better
stronger.
because you just stop a card before it does anything. Because in red, it's another counterplay that if the battle card is being played, in this case it's 1500 or less, it's placed in the owner's drop area instead of being played, then play this card.
The same permanent as Goku, so it does mean it is a little late for 15Ks because usually by the time you get to turn 3, 4, you're kind of playing 20Ks, maybe a couple 25s. Um, but there are other cases where this can be very useful, right? So Frieza counterplay has the auto, and so you go no Frieza for one. Um, Likewise, red has always been in a really weird spot with counterplays because Gallic Cannon still made autos go off,
And it doesn't get
and
through barrier.
denial is a little too expensive now that we're in the unison meta, and turn two you need to establish a unison
Correct.
if possible. So Vegeta fills this niche where it's like I'll just protect you from little stuff, and then it's still named Vegeta. It's a Saiyan. Good traits.
Right. How does this interact with the Booney? I think it still hits the
So,
tokens, even though it says
yep,
send
the
the drop
token
though.
you would play it on the counter window one of Obuni's auto,
It says
and
send the
none of and
drop and tokens can't be sent to drop, so it still
in but
hits them, right?
it's the same it's the same thing as denial, where it would
Gotcha.
attempt to move them to the drop area because that is not the cost, that is the effect.
Yep,
The
got it.
same way that Android 21 would like remove from the game, or like the act of KOing it would move it to the battle area. It just doesn't go anywhere. But
Right,
these
right.
cards are sick. Their activate main is honestly like probably just more important to them. The counterplays and counterattack make them good in other decks, but specifically in Vegito, that's a deck that really needed Self Awakening.
Oh
It's
yeah.
a deck that really needed draw, and this is just like, hey, pick up those cards out of your life. And so, a not uncommon turn two play is playing Hyper Rush Vegito and just awakening and then drawing like 6 cards that turn.
Yeah, because both the Goku and Vegeta's active main, you just pay a red. Your leader has to be a Vegito, and then take a card from life, add it to your hand, play the card. So
It's
you
kind
can
of
play two 10Ks. Oh, it doesn't matter the power for Unibatara, but you can play two basically one drops
which
while
both can
self
put out
awakening.
damage. Both
Yep.
can put out damage on the early turns.
Then we got a sweet Unibatara target, but
This card is so good.
barrier, great. It's a 0-5K, really great. Uh, if your leader's Red
It has to
Vegito,
be red
draw two.
Vegito.
That's true. The green leader would have been cool using like all those fancy stuff it has, but it got support with like was
But
it Blazing
still good.
Technique?
Blazing Technique, yeah. But this is still a great card. The draw two is really where it just is like ridiculous. Because you can just like throw this out and just put up immediately. You're just like turn to very consistently Hyper Rush Vegito. Um, and the activate main in battle, the playing a Vegito with an energy 7 or less, Hyper Rush is the obvious target. It's a little off color because it doesn't gain the rainbow that the Vegitos gain. But
Vegeta and
it's a
Goku, you mean?
yeah, that the Vegetas and Goku's gain.
Yep.
Um, but it is still a +5 on play. So like, or no, potential +6 because you rip a card, you KO a card, you draw two, and you can pick up to 2 life.
Yeah, and that basically just awaken right there. Draw two also,
So
if you
that's
counted
like
that.
the ideal version of it. You can polymorphic right into Vegeta Resolved for one, and then like beam up, or if you did that the turn before, that's cool. But realistically, it would be so much better to just like turn one Goku, turn two Vegeta, beam up Vegito, play Hyper Rush. Um, it'll just be more protection, and it'll immediately mean that you can awaken that turn,
Right.
even if your opponent doesn't interact with you.
And then we have another active main for 4 red, which you're playing Vegito, so it doesn't matter as long as you're charging Goku and Vegetas.
Mm,
Choose up to one Vegito card, cost of 10 or less in your hand, and play it on top of this card. This one's hand. The other one was deck, right?
yep.
This one's hand.
Uh,
You can play two different SCRs. I think
both
those
of
are the
which
only. Are those the
have
only
their
new targets?
reason. Yes, those are the only
Okay.
two targets. Well, so
New
the targets you would
targets.
want to pick,
Yeah.
because you can technically pick Hyper Rush in your hand for 4.
Right.
If you know there's none in your deck and you just need like a big number or something, that'll get you there. Um, but specifically, like, it's really neat to think, okay, well now you can play the set 2 SCR, 40k triple triple is just so much pressure, but like it has 0 protection and it's a really obvious play line.
Well, to be
Um,
fair, it's the first SCR. So it's really nice they gave support to that for those that still held on to it for this long.
mhm,
So I think it's really fun little nod because the anniversary packs kind of do that kind of stuff. But what's the
mhm.
real target we're gonna play, Dane?
Power Katara, man. Like, because it doesn't matter if they like chomp the trickster it or they crusher ball or do whatever. It you draw 4, man. 4 energy draw 4 is good.
Yeah,
Like, even
yeah.
if you didn't have the tap 4 and the 40k triple strike, 4 energy draw 4 is good.
That's
It's
like
so simple.
playing two Goku apes.
And that card costed $1,000,000,000.
Yeah, you can just save some money and just buy a $60 card. There is also, yeah, the 8 cost Vegitos that are in blue also. Um, like what is it, the set 10 Vegito, but I don't know if you really go into those ones. Yes, there are targets, but that one needs a Trunks leader to actually do anything.
Hmm.
A future Trunks leader.
So I think specifically people are talking about it's like the savior of the future. It is a dual attack, double strike, and then when it's or no, it's a dual attack crit, and then when it swings a second time with dual attack, it gains double strike for the turn.
Right, right, right. And then
So,
meteoric
oh,
Vegito, that,
my boy, that deck can never be good because it would be so toxic.
yeah.
When you as soon as you pull off like the combo where you can actually refill your energy every turn, that deck is toxic, and I miss it, but it has to be this way.
Yep. All right, so Vegito, in testing, I feel like the deck is pretty good, but like the
It
little
it
testing
has
we've had online.
it has a big hand, but it has to pull off its combo. If you don't pull off your combo, you just kind of like sit there and your leader doesn't draw cards and you're just like hoping that your opponent hits them into your hand or you draw them naturally, which is never the way to play the game. So that's its biggest flaw is consistency. But when it does go off, it's really hard to beat. Like turn two, dropping a hyper rush puts your opponent so far behind,
Yep.
especially if you go first.
It's definitely really fun for Vegito players to actually like. This is a really fun deck at locals. You could bring it to event if you feel really comfortable with it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you'll do pretty okay.
And then it's rainbow, so you have a lot of tech choices. I think using green unisons, particularly Frieza and Bardock, is going to be the best way to go about it.
Goku
And
Strength
then
of
you have
Legends.
access. Yep, so Goku Strength of Legends. You could play Vegeta, but you don't really want to play yellow. Um, the what's it called? Words. You'll get access to the Frieza counterplay, and then because you're also blue and red, you have access to Bean and Topo. So like some of just the best cards in the game are completely at your fingertips solely because all of your energy is every color except for yellow.
Without energy exhaust, which is gross.
Without energy exhaust, yep.
All right,
Um,
you ready for the next archetype?
absolutely.
All right.
Because I think
Well,
if
next
I
archetype.
recall, it's mine, right? This is my
Yeah, yeah.
thunder.
This is you're the control player, so you can explain why Jiren's here too.
Yeah. Um, so when you think about what it means to be a control player, you need to not play the game with your opponent. But one big issue that Bandai has always had with control is that they can never find the right amount of balance for like how much pressure can you apply to your opponent. When you think about Prison Frieza, the deck literally won't play a non-leader like card to attack until turn 5 at the very earliest, and that's like tapping out to play the old Frieza chain, or like turn 4 if you play different strategies. But Unisons get around its restriction of playing battle cards 4 and higher, so you get access to some really important ones. And I think if you build a Prison Frieza deck and you put basically any of the red Unisons besides Vegeta in there, I'm going to think that you're fine with whatever build you're going with. Uh, Gotenks is great. It has synergy with the new Planet Vegeta. The Frost is obviously a plussing machine. Your hand gets so big, and it was already a deck where your hand is pretty big, but your hand gets so massive. Sin Shenron, great for board removal. Being able to look at your opponent's hand to see what their next turn is going to be like will help you plan defensively much better. Um, and then Jiren here is probably the one I need to test next because the auto is inherently defensive, immediately taking away pressure from whatever the first card or a card your opponent plays every turn, and then gaining double strike. The deck can't attack, but now you play a 20k double striker every turn. Game is very different. I love this deck. They tried and they're working on it still, but this is good positive steps. And the way that they have decided to build the Frieza chain is not very good. Frieza Irate Emperor in particular.
Right.
Um, it is a little slow still, and the boss monster doesn't have barrier. Boss monster should have had barrier or deflect, but it doesn't, and it has to drop 3 cards, and you just can't justify going -4 to play out a card like that can just be removed by so many things these days,
Yeah, it just
especially with a
needs
card we're talking
a
about
whole
later.
brand new it just needs a whole new like way to win. That
Yep,
guy is like it's okay, it's gross, but like set 6 before counterplays and all this removal we got, like it won't cut anymore. I like Frost for it, but Jiren, sorry, go back to Jiren real quick. I believe they announced like he was like the deck they talked about with him was the Cooler Mill,
yep.
but also it's a control card, so like we'll just put it with this stuff anyways because it's red.
It's
Um,
just a really strong card. Every one of its effects is like inherently super useful and very powerful.
and our
Uh,
first activate battle on a
our
unison.
first act, it
I think so.
ties with Janemba,
It does. You're
the
right.
blue Janemba. Yep.
Red comes
Um,
first though.
red does come first. And it's just the small bit of value that you gain by stalling a different attack every turn is so big. For instance, right, they want to play Warcry. Warcry is so much less threatening when it's a 10k double striker.
Right.
And they probably used their entire turn to play Warcry. So, okay, minus 10. It's gone. Uh, or, um, like,
Who's the
little
real winner though
cards.
of Jiren? With Jiren.
Oh, oh.
It's my boy Pilaf.
Oh, that deck was like it was already so close to like being double like super real, and now I think it's just real. I think it's basically
At
gonna be tier one.
turn 3, double strike, triple attack unison.
After three
Oh.
15k attacks, and then you finish it off with a 25k triple attacker. Cool.
Yeah, it's fun. All right, so
Uh,
that's enough Jiren. Frieza, BR, which was I thought was interesting. Got support. Frost is really good for it. I thought you keep your hand
yeah,
size and your extra cards flowing.
I think what's really important is that Frost is quite versatile. As a value accruer, it can just sit there and plus one if opponents can't deal with unisons very well. And then once you get to like 5 or 6, you just go, okay, I'll minus two, and then you minus two again, and you just keep recurring specifically the Wolf Fang Fist to make sure that you don't die. And like every attack is great. You can remove little stuff.
Yeah, it's
Just a great
gross.
but at worst, we have the same thing as Vegito and Great Ape and Universe 2. One energy to draw a card is good. Two energy to draw two cards is good. Frost is a 15k body that you can play, swing for two, and then just minus two and grab two cards back. That's so powerful. When you start like applying pressure late game, if you have like 7 energy, well, let's say you're at turn 6, right? You just go Frost 2, swing, pick up 2. And then you play Frost again, and then you plus 1, so it's a little live, and then you sit on a Topo for the next turn. How do you lose?
By not winning.
That is true. Um, but Frost is just it's a value based card. My
Yep.
biggest issue in testing is that it can get removed really easily. It is a blocker, so you try to think, oh, this will soak up all the hits. But like yellow, when you're playing against yellow, they're just going to immediately grade A border cry. They're just going to war cry immediately. So if you're not already sitting on one or two Wolfang Fists, Frost is usually going to die very quickly.
Because you are
Um,
paying your turn 2 to play him.
and that means that you turn off your paralysis technique, your is that all you got,
Your
your denial,
topos.
yeah, your
Yep.
topo.
So you gotta
So
hope you
you have to
have the. You can't run Yamcha counterplay, so you have to hope you have the Wolfang Fist.
It's so unfair. Yamcha and Trunks should both cost 4. It's fine. We'll get
Wait,
to that later.
yeah.
But
We talked about
it's
irate.
like it's fine. I rate if the auto, like you said when we were talking earlier, is kind
Yeah.
of interesting. It's like it's a 20k combo, but at the same time, if I'm just gonna use one energy to do that, I'd rather just play Frieza's Death Ball because it's 25k and I can hit leader cards too. I think this one only hits battle
It's for the
cards.
turn though. Frieza's Death Ball is for the battle, so you can pick a
Yes,
different card minus 10k it for the turn.
that is true.
So
Um,
that's an option.
and
Another
so
fun fact: it only works if your leader's Red Frieza army. And
mean
se-
means what's it mean, Dom?
set 11, they showed Broly BR in red. And
Mm.
he's gonna be a Frieza army, most likely if he's like the other ones. So
He's in
just keep
three
in
whole
mind.
colors now.
Yep, he has three whole decks he can play in now. And
um,
then a card that you thought was really bad, and then we came
yeah,
up with an
because
idea.
you read it, and so when you read Planet Vegeta's Final Moments, the first thing is, oh, well, it does nothing because it just reduces everybody and myself by 10, but it negates the attack. But then you go, okay, well, but what it could mean is that you put out your Unison and it can protect your Unison because only their Unison is going to be able to do damage to your Unison without negging cards out of your opponent's hand. But then this is where we talked about Gotenks Unison earlier. Gotenks Unison has great synergy with this card because if you minus 10 to your leader, Gotenks Auto will trigger and plus 10 back to your leader. So you will minus 10 to your board still, but your leader will go back to its original 10 or 15k, while everything your opponent has been minus by 10k, and that is so much harsher than Paralysis Technique's 5k.
Oh yeah,
So much harsher. Um, it's a great card. I don't know
with Gotenks.
with Gotenks, and that's the biggest issue is that I think Gotenks is a great choice, but I think overall I think the deck will start wanting to move towards a combination of Frost Jiren or um,
Frost Sin.
Frost Sin,
Hmm.
and so I'm not concerned. I'm not so certain that the deck will have space for Gotenks, but Gotenks is a great card in the sideboard because decks that don't want to hit you, you need a way to self awaken.
Hmm.
Gotenks to do that. Planet Vegeta's Final Moment is a great defensive card if you're playing Gotenks. So like a 3-2 line of Gotenks plus Planet Vegeta's in the sideboard, totally understandable.
Yep. All right. So I think that's it for Frieza BR, and then Jiren.
Yeah.
So next up, Blue. Um, AOD. When it's an AOD. We're gonna get the AODs last because they're a bigger thing. But this card is just like
It's not even an AOD. It's an AOD in name.
yeah, it's AOD in name, which unisons we know are just like outside of dimension coming to help. Like yeah, that's why we have Green
No
Demigra and stuff.
traits.
So like it's whatever. But this card,
It's so good.
everyone's like,
Uh,
oh, Mill's dead. 60 card decks. I mean, who's really gonna play 60 card deck if you don't need to,
Vegeta
right?
and Green Goku, and those are like the only two.
And
A lot of
Vegeks
decks are
already
now
has
playing like
built in
52.
like you can't kill me through mill anyways. Which this card has an answer
Yeah,
for that too.
and Goku has the best sideboard card against Mill with the new Vegeta. So,
Correct. But any other
so I'm
deck,
not.
back to mill.
Yeah, whew, whew. Pulling two more cards off of your opponent's deck
While drawing a
while
card.
while while drawing. That seems pretty good. Drawing a card, people need to. One thing that people don't understand is that when you're drawing the card, if you're on the defensive, drawing a card on the defensive is stronger than drawing a card on the offensive.
Yep.
Because in offensive, you're probably not looking for more options, you're looking for more power. But in defensive, you're looking for more options. And seeing more cards gives you more options, which means you have better ways to deal with things more efficiently.
Yep. This also opens up Janemba to a really good counterplay, as we know, because the other
It would
unisons
have.
like
It would have
it,
if.
oh, it's would have if you could have cards that cost 5 or more in your deck. My bad, but you still get Final Hope Slash for free, I guess. That untaps an energy.
I
That's a
guess.
that's a thing. You could test it, but still,
Uh,
the drawing
the big
cards, great.
Yep, and then the +1 to crit. Blue so far has had very support-based unisons. Gotenks is kind of offensive, but realistically, all of them are so support-based because Gotenks is about drawing and then defense. Um, Zeno is about ramps, that way you can employ another strategy. And like SS3 and the um,
Goku Black.
Goku Black are kind of just I'm not really sure what they're there for. They're kind of just like defense for that deck specifically. Um, but this is the first like aggressive blue unison that we've got. And so I think like if people wanted to play this at like 2 in Zamasu, I don't think that's a bad idea. 3 energy triple striker? Yeah, sick.
Right?
Sick.
3 energy, 30k. If you have 15 or less cards, if your opponent has 15 or less cards in their deck. So if you're against Vegix or Dredge, easy.
Even or you just have to get a prolonged game.
Which is
Maybe
pretty
they're playing
easy
Nimbus.
for blue.
Yep. Like, this is the kind of card that they've been needing. I think it's very powerful. I don't know if really know if it's going to replace Zeno anytime soon, just because of how strong certain strategies like Obuni are.
Oh yeah,
But I think it's good.
it's
I
great
think
when
it's just a really
you get Obuni turn 2 because of Zeno
good.
plays.
It'd
Sh-
be like that.
that's a shout
I
out to Vash right there.
I think it's a great card. Um, but I think it's probably the least impactful to the meta. This whole setup of Janemba is just probably not going to see any difference. People are too scared of the Vegex to run Janemba in the wild because even with the new triple strike skill, it's just probably not strong enough to beat Vegex.
Because Bibbity's a thing.
Bibbidi is so good. And then they have this other the other new Janemba, the Raging Incarnate Eagle. This card's weird. Like mono blue Janemba isn't really a thing, and it hasn't been for quite some time. Like
The we're
the
on to the crit chain now, right? Is that what you meant?
uh, sorta. This one's not part of the chain though.
The form drop?
You could play it off of the chain, but like the Janemba Raging Incarnation of Evil is just like will untap all this energy, but mono blue doesn't have great defense. Like specifically, you have what hit UI Goku, the Unstoppable,
Yep.
but those cards now cost too much. And if you want to play Trunks counterplay, you have to not use it. Like you have to sequence correctly, or your opponent can just play around it. Card's okay. 20 or 4 energy crit is still pretty strong. That'll restand all that energy for you, and I think you draw one. Yep. So it's okay. But the broken card's on the right.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
I think you played it with against me, right?
I have not actually, but you told me about it. Hey, we
This
have
card's
burst.
broken.
That's a mechanic.
It is. That's true. Uh, the basically you just have to return a Psyche Demon or a Janemba card to your hand and play this. It's 15k body. Pick up 2 life, and then you can't play it for the turn. But what this really means is that 20k crit that you played for 1 energy, grab it back. Um, that 25 or that Psyche Demon that you just used to search for your next combo attack Janemba, grab it back. It is so utterly aggressive and it is so dominating to your opponent. Um, Blue has also really been lacking Self Awakening for quite some time. This card literally just says, "Play me twice, you're good. I got you."
Yeah, I think the only real ones was Pan, and now we got a Vegeta double striker, right?
Yep. Um, and Janemba is this card just allows the crit Nemba archetype to kind of come to fruition. You will abandon the chain, um, so it won't be called Chain Nemba anymore. It's just Crit Nemba. You abandon the chain and you just play the Dropbox 4 card and then the super rare from set 5 because it's a 110k and you're in blue, and then also because it's just another 25k attacker that you can play for 2 energy off of Infernal Intruder.
Yep.
Good
Ugh.
cards.
So blue seems like it's going a little faster, which is kind of Janemba, which is really funny.
Right? It's blue was never an aggro color except for like set 1, kind of, maybe,
Maybe it was before our
but
time.
but this is we're here.
It's fun.
Blue is aggro. Blue is fast. It is value. Um, the combo attack Janemba is going to look great with gold on it because he's just like punching through a hole.
It's true. All right. Next set, Android 21, which I was very surprised to see Infinite Unity
So
support,
soon. So soon. I
but makes
think
sense.
Bandai, yeah, they recognize that they banned the boss monster. You got to save it. And man, they really upped this deck. Even I would argue that this version is just as, if not better than Violent Predator.
Yeah.
Uh,
So real quick, restoration. It's a counterattack for 1. Negate attack. Leaders of Blue Android 21. And you have blue-green multicolored energy. Choose up to one Android 16. Cost 2 or less from your hand. Play it.
So you're
So,
ramping.
yeah, you're just ramping. Well, you're just ramping on your opponent's turn because I believe Android 16 is what's per turn.
Yeah. No, he's
No.
not. He's not limited.
Well,
But it basically allows you to do it turn one because your leader will restand an energy
yeah.
going into your opponent's turn.
So that's pretty good. Blue card, green, multicolored card. Yeah, I was for some reason thinking you had to use like energy amplifier, but you don't. It actually sets up
Nope.
energy amplification pretty well. Is that what it's called, right?
Mhm.
The dash pack promo.
The dash pack one.
So
I don't
like,
think that will necessarily get played, but it does set it up very well.
yes. So options. But yeah, just because you're playing your ramp super fast, like it's great. And then this card, I
Well,
don't know. I don't
what
even know why it has energy exhaust on it, but whatever.
because they wanted to make sure that it was only for Android 21, which is really unique. I think this is generally something that we were all very worried about, that eventually they would just print cards without energy exhaust. But this really gets to the core of what the deck is about. Um, as long as you leader lock it like this, and this is specific, there are two leaders, and only because they intended it to have two different play styles can
Yep.
this work.
And then
And
it's
so
blue, so if they make any other Android 21s in the future, like a black Majin, for
green
example,
or yeah, or a black one.
like
There's
you
just
can't do this.
no yeah. So this card's great. You just basically completely replace your energy buddy from before, and you're just like, hey, I'm gonna play this instead because it's broken.
Right? And then his
Um,
big effect for, what was that, 7? That's fine. You're ramping
two
on your
blue,
opponent's
two
turn.
green, three. Yep. This it happens on like turn 4 and 5 all the time,
Yeah, which is like
like very
normal
consistently.
timing. You get to
Um,
play this card, so a 25k, and up to 3 androids with a cost of 5 or less from your energy area. So you can pick. Who can we pick, Dane?
um, well, so she was a menace last set, when Piccolo was around, and she was broken when you paid 4 for one of them. And now she's broken because you pay 3 of them for 7,
So
and
it's like,
you
why?
you just rip 3 of their life, and you kill 3 of their cards, and then you played 4 25k attackers.
Like on turn
And
4
these
and
are
5, you just almost just win right there.
on the spot because you just swing with your leader every turn. Your opponent's gonna maybe try to naturally self awaken, and then you're just like, okay, well, crit you for 3. If you took any damage past your 4 life, you'd lose on the spot, and if not, then there's 4 25k attackers for you to look at. Can you handle that?
What's really nice
Um,
with this, how the wording is play this card from your energy, then play up to 3. So
yep.
you're most likely, I think, in testing the leader that has the 21's. Oh, what is that card called? It's escaping me.
The 21 scheme,
21 scheme. Yep.
which is Malevolence Unbound.
Yep. So you would have that leader. I think that one does better in testing. So
Yep.
that he would have basically the summoning sickness when
And then
he's
the
played.
3 bad omens can all swing.
Yes.
Or there are other cards you can play off of this. There are still good targets. If you play himself, he's still a 25k body. If you play Brilliant Idea, that is a card that can KO anything without barrier or give something 10k in crit. Um, if you wanted to, you could play Android 16 for some reason out of your energy. Um, you could be playing Android 17 if you did still keep a couple buddy energies just to get rid of combo cards.
Android
There are
13
really
AOD, pretty good choice. Your energy's kind of low, but like it's a crit, 20k crit you just play.
they're just options. It makes it really simple, and it's just like, hey, this is a generic card. If blue and green androids ever come out again, you just keep an eye on them and you put them in the deck.
Right.
Very, very powerful. Uh, if you're going to play the deck, you need 4 of each of these. You need 4 Android 16s to ramp, 4 Bad Omens, and 4 Speedy Substitution Android 18. Because while she was good before, now she's nuts because every time you draw a Bad Omen, you just throw it right in your energy.
Yep. All right.
Cool.
Next archetype, we're going to green. Fan favorite, green
I don't know. I don't know, fan favorite.
Gotenks.
There are fans of it.
There are fans of it. There are.
Um,
Okay, my big thing about this, like I'm totally for giving like maybe one of the lowest tier leaders
it's like a
support.
bottom three. It's like a bottom five leader.
But why have Gokil, who is a Union Patara character, support Union Fusion Dance?
You know, Bandai makes
Bandai.
strange choices, and it's also a delusional warrior, so it's not searchable by the fact that it's a Saiyan.
That's fair because the other Gokil was also a delusional warrior.
Um, and those are just things that like it just sucks that you couldn't have those options. But what really matters is that the leader is pretty trash, but these cards are designed in a way that kind of help mitigate some of that garbage.
And there's
Specifically,
always
go ahead,
possibilities of a
for
reboot
more
later.
or the reboot leader. That would be great.
That would be great.
Um, Gotenks on the right, the Grim Reaper of Justice. This card is broken. Um,
Yeah, deflect.
Deflect,
Gross.
which is so strong now.
Deflect
Two
on a
energy,
2-drop.
two energy Union Fusion.
Of what color?
Um, who cares?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Who cares? Your leader is a green Gotenks, cool. Draw two and then KO something. On its own, if this didn't have the floating effect or the dual attack, it would still be pretty good. Just deflect 25k to energy. But it attacks twice. And then when it dies, you grab the pieces back from your drop area just to do it again.
It's too bad its opponent skill. Successor would be really fun.
It would be. But Successor is still going to be used in the deck because this means
Sell Xeno for
Cell
4.
Xeno is basically a 4 energy uninteractable play because this will have deflect, and then you play another one which will also have
And
deflect,
that's 8
and then
damage
you
too. You get
and
dual
then you
attack.
sell. Yep. It's just a lot, and the Goten and Trunks are just pretty good. They can self awaken you, but it's not the way you'd like. It would be better if it was added to your hand, but you still play it for a 15k attack, and then you can add it to your hand, just to get the job done. And specifically, it really just helps consistency because it adds more green Gotenks. I think the biggest issue is that Grim Reaper of Justice is basically the only one that you really want to play. I think you have to play the others, but you only want to play Grim Reaper of Justice.
I think is not too bad. Like if there was more, if he said any Union Fusion, he'd be insane. But there's only
Yeah,
one green, cost 6 or less Union Fusion. Oh, there's
two,
two. It's Gotenks.
both Gotenks.
So he's a 1-drop. You get that effect, and then you can play him to the drop. Choose the Union Fusion in your hand. You show it. So it's kind of like a weird kind of like
It's a
Yu-Gi-Oh
long
fusion
wording
thing.
to it's a long wording. Just do something very simple. Show the Gotenks, find the Trunks, and the Goten.
Right.
But I think they made it more generic so that way if they ever decide to put another Union Fusion into green, this card will still be relevant even if it's not for
Right.
Gotenks.
Because what's green set 11 was Boo.
Was
So
Boo. So
there's a
that's probably
chance.
not.
There's a chance.
It's there is
There's
a
a
chance because
chance.
they did fight.
It's Boo
Uh,
Saga. We'll see.
so yeah, it's it's a good. These are good cards within its archetype, but the archetype itself is just a little too weak because the leader is just, whew,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
there's to do. So, moving on to the next archetype, we'll have
Cheelai Lemo. Hey, Wish support. The only Wish support. I wish there
they
was more
really,
support for Wish support.
you know,
But,
Dom. Now that you're wishing upon that, um, I hope all of your wishes come true.
thank you. Uh,
This
yeah,
is
so
really,
Cheelai definitely was a fan favorite. Wish leader, I think, had the most success outside of Shenron and Super
um,
Shenron.
and Dende.
Yeah, both Dendays did really well too. That's right. Okay. So of course we're looking at.
It was the strongest,
So
or it was
it's
the
the
weakest
Dragon
of the
Ball leaders
playable
that
ones.
can grab 2 Dragon Balls a turn did the best. Okay, got it.
But it was either the weakest of the strong ones or the strongest of the weak ones is how you can look at it. Um, and green was always an underrepresented color. People are horny or whatever, so they like Cheelai, despite the fact that she's like a 4'1" alien. I don't know.
Hey, people
Um,
be into that. Don't king shame.
no king shaming
No
on the
king shaming.
Northstarball. I think these cards are pretty good. Specifically, I think Cheelai and Lemo the Bandits. Um, right, so it has deflect, so it's protected. It's going to happen if you play it. Um, you can place two Dragon Balls into your drop and then draw one. So you can either cast it for two, basically replace itself, and then put cards into the drop area. Or you can add a green desire card from your drop to your hand.
And there's some
Also pretty
really
good.
good green desire cards.
Oh man, I wonder if we got a new good green desire card. Dom, did we get a new good green
Oh,
desire
we
card?
got a really good new green desire card. Let me tell
Probably,
you, if your
probably
leader
the
is
best.
Cheelai and Lemo, so basically locking it right there. If they ever make
Yep.
like a solid Cheelai Lemo or solid Cheelai leader, sorry. Um, you have to choose a card in your hand, discard it. That's fine. So you -2 in your hand. You're playing this for free probably anyways on your Awakened side. If you have no cards in battle area, you play one green Burly with the cost of 4
From your
from your
deck.
deck, and one green Cheelai or Lemo from your deck and shuffle your deck. This opens up. I see a lot of red green getting tested because you can open up into the 4-drop expansion Broly and then evolve into watermelon Broly and then alliance with the Cheelai. That's neat.
It's I just think the initial play of playing rushing fourth is really strong. So rushing fourth basically says if you have a red green in your energy, when you play this card, draw one. Your opponent drops a card, and then you KO something. And
Which,
if you played
yep.
Cheelai the Beautiful,
Ooh,
means that you play two 15k bodies, your opponent drops two cards, you draw a card, and then you played a evolve target for your finisher.
yep. So very good. I w- there's an old Cheelai Lemo deck that was very hand control. I think this helps it with that Broly play and having the option of the other um, Broly cards to play because you can also
Mm-hmm.
was it the Dash Pack promo Broly BR if your leader's green. Oh, but you have to have
Yeah,
three or
but you
more
could
battle
draw,
cards.
but that's very doable.
It is very
Um,
doable. You
so
do this. Well, it's weird because you have to do this first. Does he evolve? I
you
forget.
well so yeah so you can what you do is you play it doesn't evolve, but it's a 6-drop green.
Right, right.
So
So you
you'll
play the
play
four
allied
drop.
reinforcements and you'll put out two cards. Then you'll play something like Speedy Partner Lemo. You'll already have this Cheelai Lemo, the Bandits out. Um, Basically, you want to make sure that you just play another one because you can just cast Allied Reinforcements to play a Cheelai Lemo from your drop.
You have to have no
That's
cards in your battle
A-okay.
area though.
Nope for the other skill,
Oh, play one
right?
green Cheelai or Lemo card from your drop. Yep, yep.
Yep.
So basically,
Um,
Child's Wish.
you do that, and then you find a way to pop your 4-drop, the original chain 4-drop, and it
Yeah,
plays a 6-drop on top of it
and you just
instead
draw
of
a
it.
new hand.
And you just draw a whole new hand.
So
Um,
there's a lot of
I don't know.
options, but
I don't
we
know if
gotta
it's going to
see.
be worth it, but it's got a lot of options, and I think having options and open is more important than just making singular archetypes that are really broken.
Right.
I
We
do want to
got we.
mention one more thing before we move on.
All right, me too. Maybe we're gonna
Oh,
say the same thing.
mine's about Dragon Balls. Is yours about Dragon
No,
Balls?
mine's about that you can assemble the squad. This Cheelai Lemo.
Oh, that
Very
was not going to be mine,
very
but
searchable.
very searchable. No, mine is a little more um, thought process based.
Do it.
So Dragon Balls have always been the thought process is well, you're either going to play six regular Dragon Balls and one Super, or you're going to play six regular Dragon Balls and one Star Ball, depending on what kind of deck you're running. But I think Green is in a really nice position that they put Dragon Ball straight from their deck into their drop area.
Yep. This
And then this
and
new
Oob.
desire card, yep, and Oob, and then this new desire card drops cards out of your hands. So you could play some regular Dragon Balls, and you probably should, just that way your leader can grab the +1. But I think if you gave up 3 or 4 of those balls in exchange for a toolbox set of balls, I think that would be great. I think if you play a 1-star ball, a Super Dragon Ball, a 7-star ball, and something else maybe, all of a sudden your deck becomes a toolbox when you're playing Dragon Radar,
Yep.
when you're searching with your leader. Having options is so good. Doesn't matter if that option isn't very strong, there are going to be times where it's the best option. Because if you're already putting them right into your drop area, it doesn't matter which ones you did. Because if you have to play defensive, you're not going to take Super Dragon Ball. You're not going to take the 1-star ball. So just move them straight to your drop, and you don't have to think about them.
Yep. I did that a lot with my Purunga AOD deck. I ran 1-star ball and Super Dragon Ball, and I used 1-star ball to discard Super Dragon Ball versus the Janemba matchup. Like you
Yeah.
use all the balls.
Playing a toolbox is just important, and I think this is kind of the best deck that you can do it in. So let's keep testing. This is the coolest.
Oh,
This is the most varied Wish leader besides probably Yellow Dende and Blue Dende.
yeah, agreed.
So,
All right. Speaking of yellow, apes,
woo.
they back. Kinda. Apes, we gotta remember. Draftbox 6 is on the GTS distribution website with info about it. That there is. It sounds like there's gonna be a lot more ape support, so this is like good stuff to have on hand when that happens. Because these cards I think are pretty good. It's just like the deck is just missing like a little bit to be really good. But
I
let's
think
talk about
I
them.
think so. There, we'll just talk about the cards and we'll kind of talk about the deck.
Yeah.
King Vegito, Royal Pride, pretty standard card. It's a value machine basically. +1 is top 5 for any yellow grade 8, which is just pretty good. Has to be mono yellow.
Yep.
And it's just fine. It immediately gives you access to Vegeta and release from evil. But really, it can just distract your opponent to make sure that you don't get that -4 off to play 2 Raiders Warcry, because that's pretty good.
Hmm.
Full Moon, this card is either dead in your hand or it's the best card in your deck. If you have a grade 8 out, you can play it for free, and it becomes a 110k to your leader or a battle card, and then you restand one of your apes. If you look at most of the apes, they're all blockers.
By the way,
One
this is
energy.
mono yellow card. You can use Unison on it,
Yeah.
but
Oh, is it
not
card?
not defensively.
Yeah. Um, Still very powerful. All it requires is having a grade 8 card in play. So if you're playing this new Bardock that we'll talk about in a second, or you're playing Bardock Raiders Warcry, or even heck, if for some reason you hard cast the Goku Ape, this card is live. And it's just a pretty darn good card when it's live. When it's not live, it's a 110k in your hands. That isn't great. Um, and
Grade
then we
8
got
Bardock.
that card. Pretty good.
Bardock Ape that plays himself for comboing. Oh god, here we go again.
Here we go. Here
At
we go
least this
again.
one has unique. It has crit instead of double strike. It only costs 110k to play. It has blocker this time. So a little different. It is also a Xeno Bardock, so just everyone keep that in mind. Just for future, this is another Xeno card. So I've seen a theme with the Xeno apes, like Mass Saiyan Bardock, also breaking away from black. Just keep that in
Um,
mind.
And I think what they're trying to do with that is that they are recognizing that they don't want to keep all the Xeno characters locked to black forever. And so they say, well, what are the other archetypes that thing fits into? In this case, great apes are yellow.
Yep.
So it makes sense. We can just throw it in that. If there's ever going to be like a Xeno Trunks, well, many of the GT characters are in red. So just throw them in there. Those are kind of just precautions. It's interesting.
Hmm. So what else this Great Ape does? This Bardock, you can only play
Permanent.
mono yellow Saiyan cards. So that means once he's on the board, you cannot play Unison cards because you're playing
Um,
a non-mono yellow Saiyan card.
it
You
is a
can
little bit troublesome.
you can activate extra cards still.
You can activate extra cards because it is not playing.
Correct.
I think this card is great. It is probably a 3 or 4 of in any given ape deck. I think from here you have to make the decision of whether you want to go a more slow value based build where you just play Raider's Warcry for 2 and you play this Might of the Resistance for 1, um, and you just kind of slowly build your board, or if you want to play the slightly more gimmicky, but when it gets going, it's impossible to lose, is the old King Vegeta strat that they used in Red Yellow Apes. At the time, you actually charged red and you would use red energy. But now that we have the Whis super combo, you can just Whis super combo a rival King Vegeta, evolve onto King Vegeta with the set 3 5-drop that reduces the combo cost of all Saiyans by 1 in your hand, and then also gives all of your yellow Saiyans barrier. And all of a sudden, you just like can't lose. You're sitting on a handful of 110Ks that some of them draw you a card with Unbreakable Son Goku, some of them play themselves, like the Might of the Resistance or Iron Will Bardock, or Will of Iron Bardock. And then Raider's Warcry becomes 1 energy. Does that sound nice? You
Sounds
too
pretty
might
good.
be an 8 player.
Hey, I just realized something.
Hmm.
Although I guess it was the chat kind of brought it up to me. The Great Ape Bardock can be Xeno evolved into the SS3 Bardock, but you need a black leader for that effect. But still, a triple attacker for 5 is not too bad. Just
Not
ideas.
terrible.
Keep it in mind. It's for
It's an
fun.
idea.
It's not.
It's an idea.
It's an idea.
Um,
But that was a fun. Thanks for that little shout out
that's
there,
really, really interesting.
bringing that to my attention. All
Um,
right. Anything else on apes?
it's uh,
I think
the
wait
big
till
issue is that
draft box
wide
6.
barrier. Yeah, wide barrier removal is so prevalent, as is specific barrier removal right now. So unfortunately, trying to make apes a main deck that you're playing doesn't really work, but it's still strong. It plays a bunch of 4-drop things, and when you multiply 4 by 3, you get 12, which means you play the best figure in the game. So
True.
good cards.
All right. So we'll see in October how apes will evolve. But the other best yellow archetype,
All right.
Bojangles himself.
So allow me to just disappear. I'll let Dom talk about Bojack for 30, 40 minutes. How long do you need?
Well, that's AODs. I gotta save some time for AOD. I'll take 5. I'll take 5. All right.
I'll
So
take that.
your leader. I used to joke, not really, that if your leader is on its backside as Bojack, you're doing it wrong. Well, now you can just be on your backside on turn 2
And be doing it right.
and be doing it right. Yeah. If you have 2 more Bojack Brigades in play, you just play this card for free. That's cool. That we'll get into that later. That's not a turn 2 play. That's a turn 4 play. But activate manipulator is yellow Bojack. On its front side, and you have 2 more energy. You just pitch this card, flip your leader, draw 2. So you +1. You're at 15k. Make sure you play a battle card first. You don't
So
have
you
to
can
do this.
draw.
You don't need 2 active. You get the draw and the +5k, and then you're at 20k on the backside, and then you can swing with 20k. Great.
Just
You get to draw twice if you play another card. That's awesome. Um, then turn 4, you have 2 Bojack members on board. Free play this guy. He's an evolved target.
that's something that the deck was really missing, is that the 2 Bojack targets that we had previously were like a really complicated chain where if you played like Gokua, you could play the rare 3-drop Bojack, or you could play blue yellow and negate the attack to get a 3-drop out.
And hope
But it
it
was never
survived a whole
convenient.
turn.
Yeah, as a 10K.
Yeah.
Um, it was very annoying to try to get to that point. But now it's not an inconvenience to run a card that plays for free, that awakens you, that you're going to include 4 of anyway,
Draws a
and it's
card
your evolved
also
target. And it draws a
when you
card.
play it.
Like, um, it's just much stronger. this is the key. This is exactly the card the deck needed. These other
Yeah.
two are good, but this card on its own
I
makes
would
the
have
deck.
just been happy just with Galactic Disruptor, honestly.
Hmm.
But we
But
get
you didn't just hit them.
no, we got the Zangia. She is great. If your leader's Boujack, Brigade. If you use it in combo in the battle area, so as we know, the leader's effect only activates with cards in the battle area being comboed. Uh, it gets another 5k, so it's 10k combo power. And then at the end of the battle, when this card's using a combo from your battle area, it goes back to your hand. So you don't lose hand power. Because the thing with Bojack is like you don't play with what's in your hand really, you play with what's on your board. And the fact that this goes back in your hand so you can just do it again and set up your board again, and it also draws you a card when you play her, like it's pretty good. Um, so she's great. You can play her off the one drop that plays a guy from your hand. You can play Zangia off Zangia. She plays from deck. So you can do like a 1-2-2. Usually you go into Goldo, not Goldo, Guido,
Um,
Beto.
Vito.
You go into Beto so you can actually like search for your Bojack cards because he grabs the top five, look for a Bojack brigade. So like you have options now while playing Bojack, which is awesome. Um,
I
and
heard that recurable super combos were good.
yeah, recurable super combos are good. Violent Rush Bojack, not really. Like I could see a build of Bojack in my mind where you actually don't run much of the little chain at all and playing all these arrival cards, yellow blue. So you can still play the negate because you're playing yellow blue. You get the draw card off that. You arrival, you draw a card off those. If it's the first one you play that turn.
Mhm.
This guy, barrier, he has a lot of keywords. Energy
A
exhaust,
lot of
barrier,
keywords.
awesome, unique, needed, Aegis, once per turn, Aegis, no, arrival, blue yellow. God, they both start with A. Any arrivals for yellow, which is great. So you don't have
Yep.
to focus blue yellow. You just charge one blue, you're good. You only need bean anyways. And then when you activate Aegis, you draw a card. So like you run a bunch of blue yellow arrival cards and you just
And they can
pitch
kind of clog
those.
up their hand. I think
What's
my biggest issue with the card is that Aegis is great, but it doesn't necessarily help you win. I think what would be really neat is that if you did this, this is maybe where you could run it in, say, Kefla Surge,
oh yeah,
and then just do this as the easiest version of
Gene Martin.
Arrival Aegis. Yep, it's easier than Gene Martin. It doesn't plus the same way, but it's easier. And so
Yep.
that means you can Bardock Rated Warcry. And I heard that playing Bardock Rated Warcry on your opponent's turn after you tapped out was pretty good. In fact, it got banned,
Right?
but now they can do that. So,
I
um,
think I did test like a couple games with this. It felt really good playing Violent Rush Bojack when he hits the board. And then you're pitching the AOD Bojack Yellow Blue for his effect, or you just arrivaling that one too and drawing a card, block. You're like it's a very defense focused because once you set up your board of like the rival, both the rival Bojacks, and then you get the Plunderer out, you just kind of
uh,
win off there because you just swing at them all you want. They can take as many cards they want to a hand from life. And just like at their turn, they just like lose it all. Still trying to
why
tweak
is
it to add Gogeta Unison because having the extra 5k would be sweet to tap out, but
as does pitching dead cards
yeah,
is good.
because drop
Um,
power is a thing Bojack needs. That's the only thing
uh,
I think it's kind of hurting is it doesn't have any real extra drop power.
like the leader should draw on the back. That'd be fine.
Yeah,
Um, I still think, and I'll maintain, this leader and this deck is toxic. It is not good.
that's true. I agree.
Now it could be mediocre, but this leader and this combination of cards, and specifically the 8 drop, the Plunderer, is toxic.
It's fun times, fun times.
It doesn't matter if you've never played against this deck before, and you don't know what the cards do, you will lose to it, no matter what your deck is. The first time you play against it, they'll go warp 8 cards, and you go, huh?
Pass turn, warp 8.
Pass.
Yeah, it's
Um,
it's fun. It's fun.
yeah. But
That's all I have on my Boujack rant, Space Pirates. I think
cool
Violent
stuff.
Rush could see a lot of play outside of Boujack, of course, because its Aegis is just really good.
I agree.
All right, we on to block now. Kidku, welcome back to meta.
No,
We
this card's good. This card is ridiculous. And are you kidding me? Okay, guys, imagine this world. Goku plays this big 30k beat stick. It's already a hard number to get over. They dump multiple 4-star balls and they combo a 0-10k with their leader because it makes skillless cards a super combo, and they throw a super combo on there, and then they add a Champa, and somehow, miraculously, you get over it. And you're like, awesome, now I can win on the crackback. And you swing at your opponent, and they combo their board, and they never die. This
Yep.
card is tough. This card is so stupid.
Turn 2 in Kidku is like, what do you do? Do you play this card or do you play your 30k?
And both of them are the correct answers.
You're right. So let's just read it real quick. Permanent. This card gains your skillless battle cards can be comboed while in rest mode, which is
So can this card.
so good because
So
when you
can
play
this
this
card.
card,
So can this card. And it notice its name, Son Goku Childhood. I wonder if that's a problem.
oh yeah, if your later card's Black Sun Goku Childhood, when this card is played, you add up to one card per life to your hand. Hey, that you awaken in one more life. Then play up to two skillless battle cards 10k power from your
Ooh,
deck. Or drop.
not one. Not it's not zero, not one,
Hey,
but
which character is a
two.
110k, Dane?
Khalifa, Pan, Ganos. We're not
Y-
talking about
y-
those.
we're not. We're talking about Son Goku Childhood.
Mm,
Yep, which is great because
mm.
your turn 1 play is now play Aider. Turn 2 play this. Swing with your 10ks. Oh, look. They're now in rest mode.
You have
But you can
three
combo.
cards. You can blow up three of your opponent's cards. Just combo 10k, combo the 10k, and then combo this, and they all count as a Goku leaving the battle area.
Yep,
Ridiculous.
it's so good.
Um, I think this card is just generically good. I think it is significantly better in a 10k version of the deck as opposed to the current red build. I would still argue that you should run it in the red build at like 2 or 3, because if you can just play it so that way you can get that rest mode, that combo rest mode, that becomes a lot harder to deal with.
Yeah, it kind of turns up the aggro pretty well.
Um, Other card, kind of in its archetype, is the juniors. Everyone keeps saying this word wrong. It's Scions, like the car brand, Saiyan
Yeah,
Scions.
yep.
Uh, +1, you give itself and all of your skillless battle cards +5. Not
Hey,
10Ks, just skillless.
you know what happens when you have a 20k that becomes a 25k per the turn?
Oh man, I
I
don't.
wonder if it's
What
red.
happened?
Is it red? Oh wow, it's a red
Is
card? Cool. You awaken on 6, play Heartfelt Plea.
Wow, that
Wow.
seems pretty good.
I'm gonna run that in hit just so you know. So have fun with that.
Oh boy. Um, the
Minuses
minus
aren't
one
bad
is
either.
yeah. The -1. Play up to 3 or 2
Two.
skillless battle cards. Energy cost of 1 from your deck or drop. So
Wait a minute.
again,
Wait a minute.
man,
More
what?
Kid Q's on board that you can just combo away?
And then recur.
Wait, are you saying I can go fast
Don't say
and
otherwise.
and control the
And eat.
board?
Oh, and control the board. Oh, okay,
Are
okay,
you
okay.
saying I'm
That's
an
what we're going.
aggro control deck?
I don't know, man. Deck's
Gross.
broken.
It's fun.
Uh, but you can, and it's the same thing as Frost that we talked about earlier, where the very minimum that a unison card can do is just as valuable as its maximum. So in this case, for 1 energy, you can play a 10k attacker, who you could then just like combo a card to make it lethal, or if it's really early in the game, it's just a single attack. And then you -1, killing it, and you play 2 more attackers from your deck,
Or drop.
or drop, or drop, which is probably the more broken part.
Yep.
Um,
110k has got a lot of support, and now it's finally like getting really scary. Like this and that was it Kefla leader gained 5k to all battle cards.
Khalifa. Yep.
The Khalifa?
Um,
Yeah.
yep. Khalifa. That, and then I still think that mono red Gohan is probably a way to go to.
Yep.
Burning them and then +10 to all your red and green cards. And then the other one is a -2. Shuffle 2 battle cards from your drop area to your deck. What? You can just shuffle in your bunny girls. You just shuffle in your super combos. You
Oh wait, do we
shuffle in
have a
or
vanilla Earthling?
skillets. Yes, we have multiple. We have Yamcha and we have Nadater Sea Monster or Village Monster
No, you
for
can't play him
for
off
the
Bunny
Dino
Girl though.
DNA.
He's also a monster and an Earthling.
I
You
don't think he's a
can
monster.
he is. I looked
I
at it
think
the
that
other
he's
day. He's Earthling slash monster for some reason.
still though. You'll just play Yamcha.
It's true.
But you still just shuffle in 2 of them,
But what
right? You
about
can
one
just
drops
shuffle
though?
in.
Is there one drop Earthling vanilla? Pan,
Probably.
pan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, but regardless, you're just here to like, hey, I'm gonna draw 2 for 2. Oh man, I wonder if that sounds good or familiar.
It sounds very
Again,
familiar. And swing with 10k first.
yep. Um, Good card. I think it's actually going to be just as good in Hatchyack, which we'll get to here in a second, as it is in um, Kidku, because both the versions of Kidku you can make an argument for either bigger numbers and more consistent heartfelt, or consistent board control and wearing your opponent down over time with 15k Gokus that then can get comboed and board remove.
Yep. Um. So that card's
Moving on to
good.
that hatch.
Hatchyack.
This,
Yeah,
this
we'll
card,
get back to that extra card later because it's so generic. Hatchyack.
this card's ridiculous. This card's ridiculous.
Hey,
Triple
Hatchyack
attack,
can win a game finally.
it can, and it's a 0/5k. Why is it a 0/5k?
Cause Bibbidi.
It's fine. Yeah, that card's also pretty good. I heard.
Triple
Um,
attack, which gets because he's a 9, he gets overhit the leader ability. You evolve over the 8 inactive. Yep, switch this card to active. So
Switch
that's
this card to active. So
yep,
if it comes in play rested because either you dual attacked or they use like Vegeta counterplay or Crusher
yep,
Ball. Okay, cool. Switch to active mode.
yep. So
And then if they activate
5 attacks, 6, 7, 8,
5.
something like that
Uh
total.
yeah, like 8 attacks in a turn, which
Yeah.
for Hatchiyak is really big. Start throwing on 1 or 2 Champas in there and all of a sudden you're cooking with gas. 30k is a big number. If your opponent wants to attack, use a counter, warp a card. It's like
Yep,
foo
yep.
again, man.
Just
It's
tax
like
and
foo.
that's any counter.
What
Counter
happened?
attack, counter play, counter, like
It's just ridiculous. But this is where we were talking about Hachiyak before. The bare minimum that Son Goku and Vegeta do in this deck is they are a 1 energy 15k attacker every single turn that your opponent has to deal with. And if they don't deal with it, then it's just more free attacks for you.
yep, unisons
And
don't count for Hashiak's ability.
if your
The
opponent
leader.
decides, well, I need to clear that Goku and Vegeta, that's attacks away from your leader, which is all that Hachiyak wants. And then as soon as they finally clear it, you just play it for 1 again.
Yep.
Very powerful. Deck won't change much. I think you'll probably just run 4 of this
I
and
think
4 of
it
this.
just speeds up its win, cause like
Yeah.
it just took so long to win. It would eventually win. Like I was kind of joking. Like yeah, it was a top tier deck. It can win. It just now wins a little faster, which it what it needed.
Or you don't have to rely on Overwhelm.
Right.
Um,
Was it Fu, right? Dark Vanisher Fu. You just
Dark Banisher or Fu Shrouded.
Fu Shrouded, that's what I'm thinking, sorry. Yep.
Both of them are just like so much stronger. And a turn 5, a pretty realistic turn 5 is like turn 4 you play your 8-drop Hatchiyak and you just kind of leave it. And then the next turn, maybe you didn't see the 9-drop. And the next turn on turn 5, your opponent didn't remove it because it's 25k. I think it has barrier. Um,
I don't
and
think
it's just
so.
like, um, or no, it can warp energy ignoring barrier,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
That's what it is.
Yep.
Um, right, 25k, maybe they didn't deal with it. Maybe their deck isn't very well equipped to it. If you're playing against green, Frieza counterplay doesn't hit it because it's a 8-drop on board. Um, and so it's like, okay, well, crap, what do you do? And then you just go, okay, 25, 25. and then you evolve and you go 30, 30, 30, and then you pay 4 to play Fu, Dark Banisher, and do all of that the whole time. But then if they want to use any skills, they have to warp cards.
Yeah,
I
it's gonna
think
be something. Like we'll probably see some Hatchy during the annibox meta, but we'll see. Um, yeah, it's a good card.
not
Another
as good
good
as this
card.
next card though.
Yeah, Max Power Kamehameha. We just threw it in here because it's black. Kidku stuff. Not really
This card
Kidku.
is like dangerously generic.
Yeah, just pay one, negate the attack, and then you can warp 4 cards from your drop to add it back to your hand. You can't use it
Which
again, but that's fine because
just use it the next turn, or like it's you can use it to pitch for a different card effect or something, or you can charge it. Keeping cards in your hand using resources that you weren't going to use before. If you're not relying on Sparking 5, if you're not relying on um, card effects in the drop, games will have 12, 15 cards in your drop area. Might as well +1 for just getting rid of cards that didn't have any purpose.
right. And then it has an active main, so this is a counter they can use. It's a card you can use on both turns,
Can you believe that they power crept Remote Series Bomb?
right? Like it
How
didn't
did
even
they
have
do
a
that?
chance.
That card was so good, and then they straight power crept it.
Choose one card. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards with any cost greater than their current energy and send it to the owner's warp. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. That hatchyack gone.
Oh, you're playing the baby chain? Gone.
Gone. Broly, I hope you have the SCR.
Gone. Everything gets cheated out now. Gotenks 7? Gone. May I give to you all my nugget for my most hated deck of the format. Sin Shenron 9 drop. Not only is it gone, but it goes to the warp, so it's not going to get played after the leader skill.
Yep.
Sure, you can draw your cards, but it's gone. It ain't coming
Gone.
back.
Yeah, max power probably gonna see in a lot of side decks. It's
I
probably
expect,
into 2, 3 of in sideboards, even some main
which is
decks.
crazy because now we're at what 4 cards out of your sideboard that you basically don't get to control, maybe 6, because you got to play 2 Mechis and you got to play 2 max power Kamehameha, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, well,
Still
I
better
guess
than having a card in your sideboard just for one card in the game.
that is true.
Yeah.
Shoutouts to Time Control Cronoa.
Yep. Now has another target, but you
Whoa,
still wouldn't run it because
whoa!
of it.
It also hit Swap Pan,
But
two
now,
cards,
the
and
new
now
Bulma.
Bulma.
Yeah, the new Bulma.
So all these cards.
Yep. Max power Kamehameha sideboard in the sideboard near you. All right. I think it's time.
uh,
We'll try to
do
go
you even
quick.
need me here?
I know,
Yeah,
right?
we've been on for like
This
an hour, dude.
yeah. So
This is
this is
so
actually
exciting.
the funny part is this is probably gonna be the fastest section because
It's the
it's
most covered for
it's
sure.
already been covered a lot because we're a little behind, but like that's great. We get a little like see what the cards can do. Um, but also like the deck, I'm gonna be honest, builds itself, which is not that great. It's strong,
Um,
but
but it means that if a deck beats it, it probably just always beats it, no matter what you side in.
exactly.
Uh,
Plus, what
it
would you
means,
side, right? You
yep,
can't. This
it means
deck has no draw power, like actual draw power. All it does is keep scribing Agent of Destruction cards. So, well, let's just get into it quick. Uh,
we're not going to go over the effects for this one. There's a lot of cards here. If you don't know what they do, sorry.
yeah. So yeah. So this is what they do. You can pause whatever. Big thing is you play cards for cheap and free or no specific cost
All the time.
all the time.
Uh, could you imagine if you just had a card that it's in your hand and you play it and it says, "Hey, probably draw 3,"
Yep.
and it costs 0.
We got we
That's
got
the
we
extra
got pot of
cost,
greed.
which is so ridiculous. Better than Pot of Greed even.
Yep.
Um,
Helps you awaken because your leader also helps you awaken itself. So that's neat. Hatchyack puts in play your one drop Bobbity. So you're always mulliganing for Hatchyack Bobbity.
and I think the other effect in Hatchyack is really good too, because it not only shuffles in,
So
it
good.
bottom decks. the drop area cards.
Reverends,
So
Kid Goku's, buy.
Riverhands, Apes. Yep, you just throw it. You get rid of them.
Yep. So sweet card, also good in Black Boo, because it grabs any one drop Babidi. And we will see about the green set 11 stuff, because that also had a Babidi card in it. So we'll see. Pot of Greed,
Garlic Jr. is broken.
Garlic Jr.
Garlic Jr. is broken. Like
Yep.
broken. This is easily the best card in the archetype.
Yep. Negate attack, play this card. Play a Turles. Play a Turles or a Slug.
Or a slug. Yep.
There you go. Turles. This is how you keep your hand up. 13, counterplay, broken.
It's the confirmation that Turles is in blue.
Yep.
And it's the confirmation that Garlic is in yellow.
And we double confirmed it
We-
when set 11 stuff came out. All Agents of Destructions are usually tied to the color that they are predominantly in. So red Vegeta.
Red,
That's
but
yeah,
it's Majin
it's
Vegeta, and
Majin
that's
Vegeta. Yep. Janemba's blue. This is green. I think this is because it's a unison. But also next set is green Majin Vegeta, so that's a thing. So
very odd color choices, but
yep. This card's broken.
oh my god!
Glad
How did
everybody gets
green?
this. This just comes with the pack.
Dude, green. Like I think the single best unison in the game is Mechikabura, but I think like numbers 2 through 5 are all green unisons. How
Yeah.
did that happen?
Right.
Bardock, Vegeta,
Metacooler.
Metacooler,
The
and
Migra, because it's a
Migra
one
are
drop.
all ridiculous. They are all so powerful.
So okay, I'll make a deal with you all. I will do I'll make my AOD deck, and that'll be our next deck profile, because I love AOD, and we'll probably do a little gameplay of it. Because the deck, like I said, it builds itself. The issue it has no real draw, so you can't like draw anything that's not an AOD card. You have to start it within your hand or naturally draw it with your once per turn, like start of your turn, charge phase.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the
Which
really crappy part. Or running Ape and seeing that too.
if a deck's only real weakness is that it is predictable, the deck is still very strong.
Right.
It
Because
is
the more
fast.
streamlined a deck is, like it's good. Invoker.
It is still very fast. It prevents slow play because of Lord Slug. It has multiple options. Broly is recursion. Turles is plussing. Garlic allows you to play a really passive game. Vegeta is a board wipe. Android 13 is a counterplay. Hatchyack is drop control. It is so versatile as an archetype, and as time goes on, now that they have a specific leader, Agents of Destruction, if as soon as they print a new card, it will probably be another toolbox type card rather than something that does something generically strong like
Right.
Turles.
Because fun fact, in Heroes we're still missing two AOD characters. Hirudegarn
Garn.
AOD and Baby Nemba AOD. Those are two
It's really
characters we're
weird
missing.
that it's Baby Janemba and Agent of Destruction. That's gonna be a
Right.
lot of keywords.
Evil Incarnate. Oh, it's kind of like Slug right here. Like Slug has
Evil and Tough Incarnate, Machine Mutant,
AOD.
Agent of Destruction.
I think that's it actually.
But that's literally just like 3 of the longest ones that they're all gonna cram into a little line.
True. Well, you got Slug, Slug's Army, AOD, and Namekian.
But
Other
even
than
then,
that,
Machine Mutants, like these are just really long.
yeah, you can see that with the Hatchie. Other than that, I wish there was more more red cards. There's a lot of green. So AOD is like even like the first wave of AOD had mostly green cards because there's 2 out of everyone else got 1. No, there's 3 because of the SCR. And the only other shitty part is that you can't really play any of the SCR AOD cards. You can search for the 7-drop Broly, 8-drop Broly, but you have no card to play it for free.
And so that's where I think the deck kind of falters. You do get obviously you still get access to Xenocell because of these numbers.
Yep, you're
which
playing
is
a lot of
so ridiculous
free yellow and green cards. You get to play free
for 2 or
yellow and
3
green.
that add up nicely to 6, and then you go into 12.
Other
Um,
tech I've seen is just like Goku, the Rainbow Goku from Draft Box 5, and then
Strength of
Belmod.
Legends.
But you can't draw into
The
those.
Belmont is actually nuts though. I saw Sandy Carter play that. He would get rid of all the unique ones and then he would just play them again.
Oh, I can see that.
Um,
But you still have to draw
but
into it.
yes, which
So,
is unfortunate. But what he was doing is he was testing Green Gohan, and I think what's really important is that if you move away from the Vegeta unison, which as ridiculous as it is, um, you can kind of keep the archetype. None of these cards are really leader locked, except for I
just
think Android
13.
13.
Yep, just 13
Yep.
is.
And so you can pick a more generic leader, in which case something that might be a little more naturally draw heavy, like Gotenks, is something that could be considered.
Hmm.
Um, or like I'm trying to just think of other options, but my
You
initial
could
thought was
still keep the green and like, cause Vegeta still works if your leader, if all your energy's green, mono green,
mhm,
or you have an evil, or if you're an evil wizard card, which is also what probably next set green Babidi
will
Vegeta, because
be.
that's Babidi and Vegeta in that leader, so they'll have evil wizard tag. So there, there's room for growth. Hopefully, I think the deck is great, best of one. But yeah, what are you gonna sideboard? More AODs that you probably already have four of. So hard to
Um,
tell.
if any, I think what's really weird is that this deck doesn't really have a lot of strict counters. I think it has counterplay, but I don't think there's like I just need to put this card in my sideboard and it's much easier to beat this deck.
Correct.
Um, which kind of creates a really unique spot in the meta. I think this will become a gatekeeper deck. If your deck can't beat AOD, chances are you can't deal with the other decks in the meta.
Oh, I can see that. Other
It's a
than
little
that,
too fast, but
I think I'll for sure get a deck list out and we'll can go more in depth into the deck and stuff. We are cutting it like I know it's been a while, but we are definitely cutting time. We're gonna try to do. I thought it would be faster, but like this set's so good.
there's so much to talk about and think about, and they're specific. There's the right amount of specific and generic. We didn't even get to talk about reprints today.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's right. Yep. I mean reprints are yeah, they're
they're
great. We all
cool
know they're all good. They're mostly all good. So
mostly. Commander, I'll still say my gripe with Broly Crown of Retribution. Great choice for a reprint. Don't shadow drop it on us like that.
yeah.
We had 4 months to sell Broly or Bardock Apes and 4 months to sell UI Gokus. But now my Broly's are worth like $10.
Out of
It's
nowhere.
it's a small personal complaint. It's not actually that big of a deal. Right, I still recognize that it's a piece of cardboard. It doesn't have any value on its own,
Hmm.
but it would have been nice to get the warning. And we should have gotten rid of Familia Bonds instead because Champa is, while very reprinted, we could use a really cool art with shiny
Yeah, I
stuff on
agree.
it.
Familiar Bonds kind of debated me. I thought we would get like red Shenron support, but whatever.
That would have been neat. But we'll save that maybe for another discussion.
Yeah.
Um,
Thanks for
Hatter,
staying the whole time if you did. If you got through the whole video, thank you for watching. Um,
uh,
follow us on Twitch,
maybe,
YouTube,
sorry it's been so long. There wasn't as much to talk about when we weren't week to week, and literally, I think we've just been
playing set
locals
deck.
have quote unquote opened up again. It's very limited, but we can play the card game again in real life, and I think that is helping a little bit with our love for the game, not just the discussion, but the fact that we actually get to play it and sit down and look at each other in the eye, even if we're wearing masks and we look ugly.
Right, right. So expect more. Hopefully, next week I'll get the deck video out once I get my anniversary boxes. Because, like I said, the deck builds itself and it comes out of the box. So basically, you're getting a deck while getting an anniversary box, which is great value.
That's what's crazy. You
Yep.
literally buy two. If you buy two Vegeks decks and then two anniversary box, you can build like the highest level competitive AOD thing minus Cell Surge or Cell
Why
Xeno,
Vegeks?
Power Burst, and I think Supreme 5 Time is should be played.
Right, 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 right. All right. Other than that, thanks again. This has been North Star Ball. See, it's been a while. Ooh. Have a good one.